I'm Dave Lieber, and that is me falling off the stage. Many years ago, I was 5'9" when I started, but I was 5'8" by the time I landed. But I'm going to talk to you today about a subject near and dear to my heart. You probably don't know this, but I started a charity almost 30 years ago called Summer Santa. And what we do is we help kids in the summer, not just at Christmas time. And today, my special guest is the Director of Marketing, Donna Claren, the Fundraising Director. Welcome.
Hi, Dave. So nice to be here today. Thank you so much for inviting me.
It's so cool that you have stepped up to volunteer for the fundraising director because, as you know, we don't pay anybody in this charity. It's all volunteer, and the reason it is because I wanted it to be that way when I started in 1997. I didn't want somebody running a charity that I was involved with making $100,000 or $200,000 a year. And these people today in run nonprofits, they make a lot of money, don't
Right. Yes. I guess I'm not getting a raise, right?
they? No, you're not. But what brings you to? How have you stepped up to be part of this?
I've always loved getting involved in the community in many different ways. When the kids were little, I used to help volunteer with PTOs and youth cheers and youth drill teams and things like that. So, as they've gotten older, I really wanted to do something that was more just for me. That didn't really involve the kids in any way and just focused on some local charities that gave back to kids. And Summer Santa really filled that void for me, I felt.
So, how important is it that we don't make any money for ourselves? That we give every penny to the children's projects that we work on?
I think that's more important than anything. And as I looked around and chose a charity to work with, that means a lot because we are not just spending random things. We are giving back almost 100% to the kids in many cases. And not many charities really are doing that anymore.
No, they make money for themselves. A lot of them, and of course, you said give money back to the kids, but it goes back to the programs that help the kids.
Exactly.
Like we'll send kids to camp.
Yes.
What else has attracted you to that?
Well, so one of my favorite experiences is taking the kids back to school shopping and being a part of that. So this last year, my husband and I both came up to Kohl's and watched the kids as they came in. And we have National Charity League, the South Lake Division, as well as YMSL in South Lake helping with that process too. And they work as volunteers to take the kids around and to get to choose their own clothes by themselves. So in some cases, this is the first time some children are able to go into stores by themselves and get to pick out and choose their own clothing. And watching their faces experience that was like none other. My husband and I left just with our hearts filled.
Yeah, picture this. You've got a mom and a child, and they walk into Kohl's, and the mom passes the kid off to one of the Summer Santa volunteers, and the Summer Santa volunteer takes the child around, and they pick out their sneakers and their T-shirts for school. And these kids are kids that don't get to pick out
Correct.
clothing ever.
Correct.
And now they're walking away with a pair of Nikes or something.
Yes. Yeah.
And Kohl's is fantastic because they always end up giving us $1,000 more in Kohl's cash. And
Exactly.
it's amazing. I'd like to show the logo of Summer Santa so people see what we're talking about. If you could bring in opening logo, and I'll show you. This is our second rendition of our logo. It's 29 years old, and I just think it's really cool that we remind people that giving and helping children is needed 11 months of the year, not
Yeah.
just during angel tree season and at
Absolutely.
Christmas.
And I think that's, another appeal to the organization too, is we help year round as opposed to, just this one time of year. It really helps the child year round in terms of their dignity, right? So, they show up with a new outfit, and new shoes, and how much better they feel about themselves. Just walking into school for that first day is really something that, how do you even put monetary value on that?
Yep. I'd like to show you, Donna, the best pick shot. I call it the best pick shot. And this shows how the kids really relate to Summer Santa. They don't
Sure.
expect to see Summer Santa in July. I'll show you another one, a slide. This was one of my favorite ones because it shows Santa playing at the kids. And this was at a camp that we sent like 100 kids to, we don't have our own camp. We just pay for kids to go to camp. But also, we do this cool thing that nobody else does called Summer Camp in a Box.
Right.
What about that? What do you
That's
think?
been something pretty interesting too. I think, what happened during COVID is we had to make some choices in terms of you can't necessarily always send children to some place. But Camp in a Box is an interesting thing because it kind of came out of necessity, trying to fill that void of camp for these kids and to have them open up a fun box of activities during the summertime. So maybe some of these children can't get to camp. Maybe transportation is an issue. Perhaps maybe they just don't have the means to even have that experience in some cases. So Camp in the Box has been kind of filling that in the meantime for these children as well.
And what kind of stuff is in Camp in the Box?
Each year, I believe it changes up a little bit. We work with the Toy Maven in Southlake, who's been wonderful. She helps us choose items specifically for that year. Fun activities that they can do that don't necessarily need other parts and pieces. So you can, have the opportunity to play with these, fun games or things, whatever she puts into the box each year changes. So, and we're grateful to her for helping us with that opportunity.
So I asked about what kind of stuff is in the box, and I was told there's like scientific toys, gizmos, and
Yes.
it's not like just toys.
No, it's learning opportunities too, which I think is even better. So the kids won't be on social media the entire time. They'll have the ability to play with these toys, or not toys per se, but rather learning toys, and have them come up with some new ideas themselves.
so great. Let's look at T Fundraiser.
Yes.
You are running a fundraiser for Summer Santa.
am.
Tell me all about it.
Yeah, we're super excited. This year we are having it's a Kentucky Derby inspired fundraiser called Run for the Roses. It will be held on May 1st on a Friday at the Marriott in Westlake, the Solana. And we will have roughly 150 people there supporting Summer Santa, which is exciting to have all of that love in one place. And this year we're doing trivia, and we're having a wonderful luncheon. We're having an auction, a silent auction, and it'll just be a lot of fun. And everybody gets to wear their Kentucky Derby inspired hats and outfits as well.
See, that's cool. One thing that we've done in Summer Santa, going back almost 30 years, is we've created like really fun opportunities to raise money. Like we had a bike rally for many years until the roads got too crowded around
wow.
here. And I ran a miniature golf and bowling tournament for 10 years. We had female impersonators like Tina Turner come in. Oh gosh, I'm not thinking.
Yes.
Oh, we had
Well, the movies. The movies are
right.
another really fun opportunity. That's actually how I got involved with Summer Santa at a very, probably 4 or 5 years ago, is I would bring my children to the Summer Santa movies. And, we'd get a local movie theater, invite the kids and, talk about Summer Santa for just a mere second, but really just help raise funds with the movie theater and have the kids have a fun event as well.
Yeah, I think that's what movie did we do this year? It was,
We did Downton Abbey.
yeah, and it was
Downton
before
Abbey.
it came out
It
in the
was,
public. We had
yeah.
a sneak preview of it, right?
Correct. And everyone got dressed up and wore their hats, and we really made a fun event over it.
Yeah, I think the key to fundraising, and you probably agree, is to do something creative and wild and unexpected and different.
Yes.
And that's what we've done all these years. And that's really, we raise, a couple of $1 million, I think, at this point.
Yes.
And as I've said, every penny of that goes to the programs that we support.
Which many charities can't say that. So that's pretty
that's right.
exciting to be able to
Yeah.
do.
I wanted to make sure that this charity wasn't an excuse for people to take the money and run.
Yes.
And so everybody who joins our charity, they kind of feel like they're part of it because they know they're making money, but it's going to the kid programs. The only thing we spend money on is insurance, I think.
Right. Yes, maybe some storage, but that's about it.
Yeah, storage and a P.O. box.
Yeah, that's about it.
Which I've been checking with my wife for many years to make sure there's no mail. Well, rather the last time we did the tea fundraiser thing, the last 2 times we did it, we had the chef for Princess Diana come in and do slide presentations
did,
about,
yes.
and that was fascinating to watch how he cooked for Diana and what she liked and
Yes.
how he introduced the kids to certain foods and
Yes.
And that was the
Definitely.
same place, though. That was in Trophy Club
That was a
Country
Trophy
Club.
Club Country Club.
This is going to
This
be,
year we picked a new venue just
yeah,
to kind of change things up
yeah.
because, every year we want to do something a little different
Hmm.
and make it a little bit more fun each year, although that was a lot of fun as well.
I'd like to show you the mission statement. I know you already know that, but it says, a summer Santa, we seek to extend the generosity of the holiday season to every day of the year by providing the changing experiences and kindness to these children. We can consistently better their lives. Imagine the magic of a Christmas morning smile, no matter the season. Yeah, we worked on that mission statement for years. And what I like about it, though, is that it reminds everybody that kids are needed help all the time. When we first started this, we found out that 1 out of 4 students that go to schools in Northeast Tarrant County, which is our primary service area, 1 out of 4 kids were on free or reduced breakfast and lunch, which meant they were in poverty.
Correct. Yeah.
And so that's our bailiwick.
Correct.
It's a shocking statistic when you think about how rich people are out in Colleyville, Bedford, Grapevine, Haltom City, Southlake, and yet 1 out of 4 are still, in need of help.
I think that just identifies one more opportunity for each of us to get involved in some small way. And in Summer Santa, we can do that. It may be as small as even attending our luncheon. It may be as small as attending a movie, but each little bit counts
Yeah.
towards helping the kids.
I'd like to show you something. You mentioned to me you didn't know this, and you can see it in a shot called Deli. But we have at Weinberger's Deli on Main Street in Grapevine, Dan Weinberger, the owner of the store, offered me the chance to have a sandwich named after me, and I said, no, let's name it after Summer Santa.
That's fun.
So he created this Summer Santa ORG sandwich, which is the only sandwich I know that has a website as its name. And he basically put us up there, and he said, what kind of sandwich do you want? I said, I'd like to have a sandwich that appeals to Southlake women, because Southlake women are the ones who are running this charity now. And so he said, what should it taste like? And I said, well, I'd like it to be a vegetarian, but I'd like it to taste like there's meat in it. And he did come up with a vegetarian sandwich that tastes like it has meat in it. It's been up there for a dozen years. If you're ever in Weinberger's Deli,
I'll have to
in
order it the
Maine,
next time.
definitely order it. Let's see. I wanted to talk to you about something really sad that happened to us recently. Our Summer Santa, a fellow Steve Snow, who lives in Graham, Texas, he came to all of our events as Summer
Yes,
Santa,
yes.
Hawaiian shirt, and here if you call up Summer Santa himself, you'll see him. He was our Santa Claus for 8 years maybe, and unfortunately he passed away a couple of weeks ago. And the thing about Steve was really a Santa in real life. He had all the attributes of a Santa. He was so dedicated. He showed up at all our events. I took this picture. I'd like you to see Steve Snow baby scared. In this picture, I was like, this baby is at an event of ours, and he's marveling at this man. And I think he's a little bit scared. But then, Steve Snow baby no longer scared. Show that picture, please. There.
Oh,
I
how
think he
cute is
came
that?
around. So Steve's funeral was recently, and it was one of the most powerful funerals you'll ever go to, because you had a guy who really lived. He walked the walk and talked the talk. And you never got to meet Steve, did you?
I never got to meet him, but he was at many of the events that I had been to. And, the kids loved him at all of the movies that I attended. My children went up to him and said hi to him as well. And he was at the last tea as well. So I
Yeah.
did get to see him. And I think, he was Santa. He was the epitome of Santa, it sounds like, from what everyone has said about him. Just
Yeah.
truly a nice, kind man
Yeah.
and gave back so much.
It was wonderful to get him. I lucked out, and I met him at the airport at 7 a.m. and I found out he loved being Santa, and I said, join us, and he did.
Yeah.
And
From the airport.
yeah, from the airport, waiting in the waiting room. So let's play a little game here. Let's
Sure.
pretend that I'm a potential fundraiser. I mean,
Yes.
not a fundraiser, a donor.
Upon the potential sponsor, correct?
Yeah, and you are my fundraising director, and you've introduced yourself to me. How are you going to sell this to the public? What's your plan?
I think, well, what I usually tell people is about the organization in general, about how everything goes back to the kids in many cases.
Mhm.
We make sure that, everything that, so for instance, if you're a sponsor for our upcoming event, you are going to not only get some notoriety back to you because we do mention you in various different aspects, but more importantly, you're giving back to the kids. You're helping us, clothe the kids. You're helping us provide the information that's going to go out to them for toys in a box or camp in a box for them. But the experience that goes into these children's, what they experience from a Summer Santa event, for instance, so going to Kohl's to go shopping is life changing. So they're changing people's lives. So it's not really a hard sell per se. Who doesn't want to help children in so many different ways, right? So if we can let everyone know who we are and what we do on a daily basis and how we are here for the kids, not just at Christmas time, but also during the summer at a time that there's kind of no one else is around at that point. So being able to give back to the community, I think for it to be a local community is also a local organization is very important to the community. I think being able to have, being able to see that at local events and being able to hear about the Kohl's events or Camp in a Box, it goes a long way to many of our sponsors.
I sometimes think about the number of children that we've helped in 29 years, and it's got to be in the thousands. Thousands of kids who went to camp, excuse me, who wouldn't be able to go,
Yes.
and thousands of kids who got clothing for school, excuse me. And I just think it's just amazing. My obituary should say Dave Lieber, who helped thousands of kids.
Right.
This is probably the most important thing I've ever done in my life.
It absolutely is probably one of the most important, obviously, than being a father and a husband and being part of your family. But, I think being able to help so many children in so many ways just means so much to everyone, right? So I think that's why I'm involved, why you have been involved, is giving back and letting your heart be a little bit bigger just simply by helping someone.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you the story about how we started?
No, please.
So there was this municipal judge named Brad Bradley, and he's still around judging in cities. And he invited me to breakfast, and he said, "Hey, I sent my son to go volunteer at a Grace, a charity in Grapevine, and they turned him away. They said they don't need any volunteers it was before Christmas. They don't
Wow.
need any volunteers." So he comes home, he says, "Dad, they don't want me." So his father's like, "Okay." Well, a week later, after Christmas, there's an article in the Star Telegram, and it says, we need volunteers. So Brad said, Lieber, we need to do something to remind people all year round that kids need help, not just in the summer. So then we started a toy drive, and that's how it all began. And once people saw how pure it was and how innocent and helpful it was, they started to join. There have been women involved in this charity for 10 years. They were supposed to stay for 1 or 2.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask you about your anatomy of a volunteer, how you became a volunteer, why you decided to, what in your background made that happen?
Well, my husband will tell you that it's because I can't say no
Okay, that's a problem.
to anything. It's
Yeah.
good and bad. It depends on who you ask, right?
Well, I think it's important to learn how to say no, but that's another
true.
subject.
Yes, that's true. I also just like giving back to the community. So in any way that I can, whether it's through youth sports, whether it's through helping at the school, whether it's for making a difference. I'm also a foster for some local rescues to
Oh,
help
wow.
doing that as well.
That's
So
cool.
I just, I feel like there's always some extra time in my day to be able to give back and be able to make a difference.
Was there one event in your life that made you feel this way? Something that happened?
I don't think it was one event. I think it was a culture, the way I was raised. In my world, my mom was always helping something or doing something to help someone, and I think that is just sort of ingrained within you at an early age. And it doesn't necessarily have to be one event, but it's so many different events throughout your lifetime that you've been seeing, and how I think everybody just wants to help someone in a little way, but a lot of times I feel like people want to help, but they don't necessarily know what to do.
Sure.
I'm more of an organizer. I like to create things and have plans. And so I'm kind of the person that kind of helps pull everybody together almost in some cases. But we have such wonderful volunteers too. So, they
Mhm.
always have great ideas too. So it's sharing those ideas and coming up with great plans to support the charity.
With me, it wasn't one thing, but it was the fact when I came here to be a newspaper columnist at the Star Telegram in 1993, I learned something about Texas. I learned that it's not what kind of car you drive, it's who you volunteer for. People say, "Who do you volunteer for?" And I grew up in Manhattan, and people didn't, I didn't learn about volunteering. So I get here and I see that media personalities like myself, I'm writing a column back then three
Yes.
times a week for the Star Telegram. Media personalities like myself have a pulpit, and a lot of them, they have cars for kids or whatever. So I wanted to get involved in something, and I wanted to help create it from the ground up, and I wanted to basically build a base. And I did every kind of job you could do. I started off with the toy drive, and I would go to schools and I'd collect boxes, and sometimes there'd be a lot of toys, and sometimes there'd be just tissues.
Yeah.
And I set up everything that I could, and it was really an important experience for me
Yeah.
because I learned how to organize. As a journalist, I don't participate; I report. But I got permission from the newspaper to be a part of it, and boy, it was really changed my life. And what really I loved was the women came on board, and they were so organized. You're a vice president of sales at your company,
Yes.
and you have all these techniques that you use in business, and all these women were coming in and they were changing everything I did and making it more efficient. Computerization, spreadsheets, guidebooks, manuals on how to run things, all these things that I didn't know that you should do. And I learned a lot watching them. And I really appreciate these women. They've been involved for a dozen years, most of them. They don't leave. But I also really appreciate the charities that work with us, like, help me if I forget some, Young Men's Service League and South
Correct.
Lake Women's Club, which gives us money from Art in the Square.
National Charity League in South Lake as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Keller Women's Club. I mean, I can name a dozen organizations that are women's clubs and chambers and groups that have helped us
We're
over the
so
years.
fortunate really
Yeah.
to have them in our backyard and to have them see the good work that we're doing as well.
Because what's more important than kids? And what's more important than kids that don't have? And what's more important than kids that don't have and are hurt by the emotional problems in their household?
Course.
A lot of the kids we deal with, they have very dysfunctional families. They don't have money for sneakers because their mom spends their money on whatever, drugs or
Yes.
alcohol, and they just don't have the opportunities that we have here. We grew up, you're probably the same with me. We grew up in a really secure household where mom and dad were treating us fairly and helping us and giving us money and allowances and good schools. And so many of these kids don't have any of that.
Yeah, and I think that's the most important part of this is the giving back is giving more than just the shoes on their feet,
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
than the clothes on their back, more than camp in a box. It's providing them with self-esteem in many cases. It's providing them with a sense of belonging in many cases when they walk into school on that first day to be able to feel just like their peers. And there's not a lot of charities that are doing that for children to build their self-esteem and to make
Right.
them feel good about themselves.
Right.
And we don't even know, the long-term effects of that too, and how much that can help them. If you imagine yourself, having a bad day and all of a sudden you're having this great day because you just feel so much better about yourself, how much that can impact you long term and what other opportunities there are for you down the line, not just that day, but long term for weeks to come.
Yeah. I wrote a book recently about Don Meredith, who was the first Dallas Cowboy quarterback. And I found his salutatorian graduation speech from high school. And what he said as an 18-year-old boy was, when we get out of here, we're no longer kids, we're no longer students, we're adults. And he said, the most important thing we can do in life is help other people. If the opportunity comes to help people, do it because it'll make your life better and their life better. And I think that's just really profound for an 18-year-old kid from East
For
Texas.
sure.
And that's the lesson of Texas. You got to give to get.
Absolutely.
So let's see. I'd just like to end this with any closing remarks or thoughts that you'd like to share.
We would just love to have as much support as possible for our upcoming event, for our Kentucky Derby event on May 1st. If we have any sponsors that are interested, we'd love to speak with you, not just about this event, but about the events to come in the years to come as well. So, we'd love for you to join us on giving back to the community and giving back to these kids and helping us in any way possible.
Could you show homepage, please? I think one of the things that people can do if they really like this idea of helping children with and money not going to the staff of nonprofits, I think they can go to the website, summersanta.org, which happens to be the name of that deli
Yes.
sandwich, and they can hit the donate button, which is on the upper right-hand corner. And we're a nonprofit, 501c3, so it's tax deductible. And I really want to welcome you and thank you for putting yourself out there and helping us.
You're
Because
very
we
welcome.
need people like you to go out and do the work that needs to
You're
be
very
done to
welcome.
keep this thing going.
We're fortunate to have such a wonderful board that walks us through so many different opportunities, and we meet monthly to try to discuss, how we can do better. So I think that's wonderful. So yeah,
What a pleasure.
thank you so much
Thank
for
you so
having me,
much.
Dave.
I'm so glad you joined us.
Thank
Summer
you.
Santa ORG. We appreciate you for watching this and thank you.